Hello students. In today's video, we are going to see about a new theory, valence bond theory of covalent compound. We are going to see the orbital concept. When I started this chapter, chemical bonding and molecular structure, I mentioned four theories. How different theories have been put forward time to time to explain the bond formation. In that series, we have seen about Cousel-Lewis approach and VSEPR theory, valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. In that series, we are going to see one more theory, valence bond theory. This theory was put forward by Hitler and London in 1927. Both are the names of the scientists. These two people, they put forward this theory in the year 1927. And this theory was further developed by Pauling and other scientists. According to this theory, a covalent bond is formed by the partial overlap of two half-filled atomic orbitals containing electrons with opposite spins. This theory was actually put forward to explain how a covalent bond is formed between atoms. So what this theory says is a covalent bond is formed by the partial overlap of two half-filled atomic orbitals containing electrons with opposite spins. I'll show you an example. Let's see the formation of hydrogen molecule. What is the formula for hydrogen molecule? H2. How it is formed? By two hydrogen atoms. When these two hydrogen atoms, when they have overlap, see before that, what is the atomic number of hydrogen? It is 1. How will you write the electronic configuration? 1s1. So in hydrogen, we have s orbital having 1 electron. And we have learned already how many maximum electrons can be present in s orbital? 2 electrons. Here in hydrogen, how many electrons are present? 1 electron. So we call this as half-filled atomic orbital. S is the atomic orbital and it is half-filled. So when you take another hydrogen atom, in that hydrogen atom also you will be having 1s1 as the electronic configuration. So that hydrogen atom is also having half-filled atomic orbital. Now see, this is the s orbital of this hydrogen atom and this is the s orbital of the another hydrogen atom. Here you have an electron, this 1s1, this electron, and here in this atom also you have an electron. So both are having opposite spins. Now what will happen? These two atomic orbitals, they are going to overlap partially like this. See, this is partial overlap. This is the atomic orbital of one hydrogen atom and this is the atomic orbital, which is the s orbital of another hydrogen atom. We have learned that s orbital is spherical in shape. So both the s orbitals are overlapping partially, and see, now here we have the 2 electrons. Now this is the H2 molecule. So what does VB theory says? A covalent bond. So here both the atoms are sharing the electrons. This is forming a covalent bond. A covalent bond is formed by the partial overlap of two half-filled atomic orbitals. Why do we say half-filled? Because instead of having 2 electrons, we have only 1 electron in each s orbital. So this is half-filled s orbital. This is also half-filled. So both atomic orbitals are undergoing partial overlap to give you a molecule. Here it is hydrogen molecule. When we say partial overlap, it means that a part of the electron cloud of each of the two half-filled atomic orbitals becomes common. See this part, this is the part, this is becoming common in this molecule. So this is the electron cloud. A partial part of this electron cloud is becoming common in this molecule, and what happens as a result, the probability of finding the electron in this region of overlap is much more than at other places. So inside the molecule, where is the probability of finding the electron is more? In this common region. So what will happen? These two electrons, as they are having opposite spins, they will be attracted to each other and they are mostly present in this region. So thereby they are forming a bond between these two atoms. So this bond is covalent bond. This is the picture given by the valence bond theory. See, this is the 1s atomic orbital of one hydrogen atom. This is the 1s atomic orbital of another hydrogen atom. See, this is the region where they are overlapping and a covalent bond is formed. Let's take one more example. Formation of hydrogen fluoride molecule. Hydrogen, the atomic number is 1. So what is the configuration? 1s1. And for fluorine, atomic number is 9. And this is the electronic configuration. So 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py2 and 2pz1. So these are the electrons. Now you have 1s1 here and 2pz1 here. Which is the outermost shell, that is the valence shell in fluorine, this part. So you have 2s2, 2px2, 2py2 and 2pz1. Now the overlap will be taking place between this 2pz and 1s because we have partially filled atomic orbitals. So now I've taken the hydrogen atom having one electron. So this is the s orbital of the hydrogen atom, this one. 1s1, so 1 electron here. And this is the 2p orbital of fluorine atom. See, we have 2px, 2py, 2pz. We know p orbital is dumbbell shape. So we are having three different orientations. So I've written it, drawn it like this. So 2pz, you have 2 electrons here. 2py, you have 2 electrons. In 2pz, you have 1 electron. So now the overlap is going to take place between the s orbital of hydrogen atom and 2pz orbital of the fluorine atom. See the overlap. So now the electrons are present here. Now there is a covalent bond formation between hydrogen and fluorine atom. So in HF molecule, where is the overlap between the hydrogen and the fluorine atom? So exactly according to valence bond theory, what is overlapping? The s orbital of hydrogen atom having 1 electron is overlapping with the pz orbital of fluorine atom having another electron with a opposite spin. So this is how covalent bond is formed in a molecule. Let's see one more example to understand valence bond theory. So third example is formation of fluorine molecule. What is the formula? F2 is the formula for fluorine molecule. So fluorine atom, atomic number is 9, 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py2 and 2pz1. Writing this electronic configuration I've taught you in chapter 2, structure of atom. So the 2pz1 of this fluorine atom is going to overlap with the 2pz1 of another fluorine atom. So this is one fluorine atom, this is another fluorine atom. So in this fluorine atom, we have this 2p orbital in three different orientation, 2px, 2py and 2pz. 2px 2 electrons, 2py 2 electrons and 2pz 1 electron. This is for orbital picture of one fluorine atom. And now this is the atomic orbitals of another fluorine atom, same way 2px, 2py and 2pz, and 2pz is having one electron with opposite spin. So now these two are going to get overlapped. So this is the overlap. So this is the F2 molecule. So a covalent bond is formed between this fluorine atom and another fluorine atom by the overlap of 2pz orbital. So we have seen the formation of molecules by covalent bond formation based on orbital overlap, how orbitals are overlapping to form a covalent bond in molecules. Now what we are going to see, we are going to see the interpretation of orbital overlap in terms of energy consideration. What energy changes are happening when a molecule is formed by orbital overlap. Let's take the example of hydrogen molecule. When two hydrogen atoms are far apart from each other, there is no interaction between them. When they come closer to each other, new forces come into operation. There are two types of forces that come into operation when two hydrogen atoms come closer to each other. One is forces of repulsion, the other one is forces of attraction. So let's see what are the two types of forces in detail. So imagine we are having two hydrogen atoms. When they are coming closer to each other, I told you there will be two types of forces, new forces that will come into operation. First force is force of attraction, the other one is force of repulsion. So what are the possibility of having force of attraction? When these two atoms of hydrogen come closer to each other, there will be force of attraction between nucleus of one hydrogen atom and electrons of another hydrogen atom. Let's name the hydrogen atoms as A and B. So there will be force of attraction between nucleus of A and electrons of B because they are oppositely charged. The second force of attraction will be between nucleus of B and electrons of A. So you will be having forces of attraction between nucleus and electrons. And the next force is force of repulsion. That will be between electrons of A and electrons of B. Obviously, both are negatively charged, so they will be repelling each other. So, electrons of A will be repelling electrons of B. That is force of repulsion. The fourth one is force of repulsion between nucleus of A and nucleus of B. So, we are having four new forces. Two of them are attractive forces that will be existing between nucleus of one atom and electrons of another atom. The other two are forces of repulsion that will be between electrons of one atom and another electrons of another atom, and nucleus of one atom and nucleus of another atom. So this is given in a pictorial form. See, this side it is atom A and this is atom B. So this is electron of atom A because this is negative, this is positive. Nucleus of atom A. This is nucleus of atom B, electron of atom B. Now see, between electron of A and nucleus of B, there is attractive force. Same way, between the electron of B and nucleus of A, there is attractive force. Same way, between electron of A and nucleus of A, there will be attractive force which is already present. Same way, there will be attraction between nucleus of B and electron of B which is already present. So as we are talking about the new forces, what are the new forces now? Forces of attraction between nucleus of A and electron of B and electron of A and nucleus of B. This is new force of attraction. What is the new force of repulsion? Between electron of A and electron of B, there is repulsion. See, the arrow is in the opposite direction. So there will be repulsion between electron of A and electron of B. Same way there will be repulsion between nucleus of B and nucleus of A. I told you we are going to see the interpretation of orbital overlap in terms of energy consideration. Here we have taken the example of hydrogen. In the case of hydrogen, the magnitude of these attractive forces is more than that of the repulsive forces. We have both attractive and repulsive forces. In the case of hydrogen molecule formation, attractive forces are more than the repulsive forces. So what will happen as a result? The potential energy of the system decreases. What is the system here? The hydrogen molecule which is formed is the system. So what will happen? As a result, the potential energy of the system decreases. We are actually forming the hydrogen molecule. So before that, when we say system, we are talking about the hydrogen atom A and hydrogen atom B. So for that system, what happens? The potential energy decreases. Remember, when there is attractive forces, the energy of the system decreases. When there is repulsive forces, the energy of the system increases. And also remember, when there is decrease in energy, that implies stability, more stable. When there is increase in energy, destabilization. So now, in the case of hydrogen, force of attraction is more than the force of repulsion. So what will happen? The potential energy of the system decreases and a molecule of hydrogen is formed. This energy changes taking place during the formation of hydrogen molecule can be represented graphically. This is the potential energy diagram showing variation of energy with internuclear distance between two hydrogen atoms. So the internuclear distance, which is represented as small d, is taken in the x-axis, and this is the potential energy which is taken in the y-axis. When you look at this curve, you can understand the potential energy decreases as the internuclear distance decreases. See, there is a decrease in potential energy. This is the potential energy. I've shown the arrow here. It decreases as the distance, internuclear distance between the two atoms keeps on decreasing. Now, as the atoms start coming closer to each other from infinite distance, they are at two different places. Two hydrogen atoms, they are at two different places. Now they are coming closer to each other. What will happen? They start interacting with each other as they are coming closer. And in the case of hydrogen, I told you, the forces of attraction exceeds over the forces of repulsion. So what will happen? The system will start losing its energy. So now let's imagine these two as the two hydrogen atoms. This is one atom of hydrogen. This is another atom of hydrogen. They are at infinite distance. Now they are coming closer to each other. When they come closer to each other, they start interacting with each other. So now what will happen? The attraction is more between these two atoms, and the system will start losing energy. But when they are coming closer to each other, at certain equilibrium distance, the forces of repulsion are just balanced by the forces of attraction, and the energy of the system becomes minimum. See, this is that minimum energy. So now imagine at this particular distance, okay, at this particular distance, the force of attraction and force of repulsion is balanced. So what will happen? They will be staying at this distance. They cannot come any further closer anymore. They will stop here. So now let's put a stick here to show that they are stopping at this distance. See, as I told you, at certain equilibrium distance, the forces of attraction is balanced by the forces of repulsion, and the energy of the system becomes minimum. In this situation, the two hydrogen atoms are said to be bonded together. So they have formed a molecule because it is more stable. When they are bonded together, they are forming a stable system. At this distance, they are stable, and we call this as a molecule of hydrogen. So at this stage, see, the distance between the two nuclei is called bond length. And in case of hydrogen, this bond length is 74 picometer. So just to understand this model, I've put a bigger stick here, but this is not the this much big bond length will be there. It will be very, very small, and you can understand even atom you cannot see with naked eyes. So when these two hydrogen atoms are stopping at this distance, and that distance between the two nuclei is called as bond length. So in the case of hydrogen, the bond length equals to 74 picometer. Now if you try to bring these atoms still more closer, then what will happen? Repulsive forces start overpowering the attractive forces. Consequently, what will happen? Energy of the system increases, causing instability to the system. So they cannot come any more closer. So when you look at this graph, at this point, okay, at this internuclear distance, the potential energy is the minimum. So this distance gives you the bond length. So D naught is nothing but the bond length, because at this distance, what distance is this? The distance between the nuclei of both the hydrogen atoms. At this distance, the energy of the system becomes minimum. So that makes the system more stable. So that determines the bond length. So as I told you, in the case of hydrogen molecule, the bond length is 74 picometer. And remember, in the formation of a chemical bond, a certain amount of energy is released. So if you want to break the bond, that is to separate the atoms, you have to supply the same amount of energy which was released when there was a bond formation. So a stronger bond is that which requires greater energy for the separation of atoms. So you can say in the formation of a strong bond, more energy should be released by the system. So remember, when more energy is released by the system, then bond strength is more. So you can say when more energy is released, there is a decrease in energy in the system. So either ways you can say, when there is decrease in the energy of the system, when the chemical bond is formed, that determines the bond strength. Lesser the amount of energy liberated, weaker will be the bond formed, and larger is the amount of energy liberated during the bond formation, stronger will be the bond. So you can define bond energy as the energy required to break 1 mole of bonds of the same kind is known as bond energy or bond dissociation energy. So in the case of hydrogen molecule, the bond energy is 436 kilojoule mole inverse. This is the bond energy. This is the amount of energy released when H2 molecule is formed. And we represent energy, bond energy in kilojoule mole inverse and bond length in picometer. When I took the example of hydrogen molecule formation, I told you when these two hydrogen atoms come closer to each other, their forces of attraction and repulsion will come into play. But what overcomes what? Forces of attraction will overcome forces of repulsion. That will end in a bond formation. So that's why we have H2 molecule. Now we have a question. Why don't we have He2 molecule? What is He2? Helium molecule. We have H2 molecule, but we don't have He2 molecule, because when two He atoms come closer to each other, their forces of repulsion will overcome the forces of attraction. So He2 molecule cannot be formed. So according to VB theory, based on orbital concept, when there is force of attraction and force of repulsion, when two atoms come closer to each other, and if forces of attraction overcome the forces of repulsion, then they will form a molecule, or else they won't. So in the case of He2 formation, repulsive forces overpower the attractive forces, so obviously the energy of the system increases, so no chemical bond is possible. So according to VB theory, there is overlapping of orbitals that results in covalent bond formation. Depending upon these types of overlap between atomic orbitals, you have different types of covalent bonds, which we will be seeing in the next video. Thank you.